because Gordon Ramsay was said to give class on the website, and so
Gordon
I've never
Ramsay.
really see about the other coaches. And then after you give me access, there are a lot of interesting topics,
Mm.
and I'm interested to watch a lot of it. Yeah, and one of them is the Chris Voss, and it's really entertaining and it's really easy to understand. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris Voss is actually, I would say, the if you think of like the library of understanding negotiation, right? It's probably humongous. There's people at Harvard. There's people whatever. But what Chris Voss has done is he's created like the like the little booklet, right? That gets you kind of like the most effect with the least amount of effort. So that and Daniel Pink's course, I think, are really masterful. So hey, let me actually just double check. Has everybody here actually watched the Chris Voss class? Kyla, yeah, you okay? Kyla's seen Daniel Pink and
Yeah,
okay,
Chris Foss and Daniel Pink.
great, great, okay, all right. Nadine, how often do we apply Chris Voss's ideas here in this chapter?
For Christmas, yeah, pretty often because Christmas always come to the what is that? Yeah, techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is always be implemented with our team actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're mostly always working with the Christmas technique though, and
Yep,
then Daniel Pink. Yeah.
that sounds about right. Okay, okay, let's. I noticed that my wife, when she talks to me now, she uses like persuasion negotiation techniques. I wrote her this long story, and she labeled it with just like a few things. Hey, babe, right? I told her a story about how I went on a trip to San Francisco and I lost my speaker, but I discovered all this other stuff, and then she said, "Sounds like you're not very careful with your belongings." I was like, "What? But what about the other 500 other words I had put in there?" So, okay.
Yeah, I just memorize and I wanna get
But
the point, you know?
it
Like,
wasn't
oh,
this.
are you trying like that? Okay, yeah. The rest, so I can imagine it, you know?
Okay.
Like the one that.
Women pay attention to what matters the most. Absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. So let's take a look at the material and see where we left off. Hey, hi, Gray. Gray, how you doing?
Hi, sir.
All right, great. Have you
Are you
checked out the
okay,
mouse?
Greg? Talk Francine and Greg?
Hmm?
Are you okay?
No, I just keep coughing since yesterday. I don't know why.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh, why are you
So,
coughing?
What?
Why are you coughing, Gray?
I'm not sure either. I'm always at home. that's what I'm considering weird. Probably just because I keep drinking ice. Also possible. Usually that's what Indonesian people said.
I think coughing is okay. All right. Are you okay? Are you
Yeah.
equipped to? Okay. I won't call on you too much today. Then great. I'll give your vocal cords a chance to recover. But if you do want to communicate, I'll let you type. Yeah, and you can chat using the chat tool. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into.
okay.
Who else is here? Okay. All right, cool. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. So I see we have quite a lot of material. So let's examine some of this stuff and see if we can classify it. Okay. So let's pick up where we are last time. Kyla, would I be able to call upon you to be our secretary today? So Kyla can take
Yes, sure.
the notes. All right. Thank you very much. All right, Kyla. Tell us about what is happening here.
Okay, so for the reminder, actually the first example, this one we have actually discussed about this. So this
Mhm.
is the example of applying the rhetorical triangle, the
Mhm.
logos, pathos, and ethos method in
Oh.
identifying the property owner category. So
Okay.
I think what we haven't discussed is the second option.
Okay.
If you can scroll in it, yes, this one. So this one is new for me. What I want to tell about this one is actually on this kind of approach, I'm using the ethos pathos logos method. So basically, and also the labeling. So when the owner tells me that he is the owner and that it will be easier for me to book direct from him, so I get a much cheaper price. Then I kind of label him with with the agent, is it usually occupied or not? So yeah, just trying to find a job, and he was like, if you're interested, you can directly book to me. So I won't give it to another guest because with agent, they used to make the calendar of booking full and he needs to confirm with the management. So yeah, he thinks it's kind of complicated, and actually that's kind of funny because that's exactly what Bukit Vista is do.
Right, right. Okay.
Engagement.
That's something we have to actually filter out then. All right, let's go to Nadine. Nadine, what do you think about this particular owner?
There seems to be frustrated. Yes, I think Kyla got him right. Um I think Kyla approached it in a right way. I think at the very beginning.
Okay.
This is still in the beginning, right, Kyla? Just for the opening, I think this is still good.
Okay. Is this a person we want to work with necessarily? Let's go to
No.
Wayana. What do you think?
No, this one have integrity issue because
Right.
what you call it they did that, we didn't want that. So we try also implement in our property owners
Mm-hmm.
only price using BP, like walked in, everything should be the same so that if they walked in, doesn't matter walked in or what, they still taking a cut and have to be sell the same price, not otherwise we're competing with the owner.
That's correct. Right.
What is the point to use Bukit Vista if they are not applying? Why we have to apply at the same price? Because walk-in guests will get everyone equal
Okay.
to stay in the same location in the same room category.
Very good. So I think we see this owner is probably not going to be fair with their current managers, and they're probably not going to be fair with us, right? So let's say, for example, we work with them. Will we inherit a problem or will we inherit an opportunity? Let's understand this owner a little bit better, right? Most of what they seem to be upset with are the transactional issues, right? So their focus seems to be at a transaction level, which is not necessarily like the best place to begin, right? So this is a person who's thinking about, how can I get a little bit more for myself, right? But we generally want to work with a person who has like an idea of what the bigger picture is, right? So, okay, good. This can be actually very useful, everybody. Remember, sales and persuasion is mutual, right? It's not that we are always trying to get everybody to come to our side. We kind of like the other way to think of it is it's an interview, right? So does this person actually belong in the kind of the community that we're trying to build? And long-term wise, it makes your job easier and easier and easier when you already have like a group of people who actually believe in something, right? Then the next person believes in it, and the next person believes in it. But if we get too many people who are transactional focused, then don't be too surprised when kind of these issues occur later down the line, right? Okay, good. So we've been able to understand that this is probably working, but it's working in a way that lets us filter out who are not the right people to have. Okay, good. So we know, Kyla, do we know if this is a logos, pathos, or ethos type person? Or if they lack logos, pathos, or ethos?
Actually, from what the conversation is about, I think it's more like, I don't know, I'm not sure. It's either ethos or logo since he's very adamant about the transactional personal thing. But what I mean by showing this example is that we can actually use the method that we have learned to accelerate the process. So Mas Bayu has said like in the duration of 10 days, can we accelerate it like an hour? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I see. Okay, all right. Let's go to Wayana. Babe, what do you think about that?
About
These types of questions can be used to accelerate the understanding, the discovery of the owner and the categorization of the owner.
in this case, because this one is not like looking the question is not looking for personal, it's more like looking to like the situation of the villa, so we
Okay.
cannot see like what kind of owner is it, but I can see the have integrity, but to make definition like logos, ethos, or pathos, I cannot tell yet.
Okay, let's go back to Kyla then.
It's like almost lacking.
Okay, let me try to actually understand a little bit better Kyla's perspective. Kyla, are these questions meant so that they can categorize the owner faster or discover what the owner is up to in a quicker way?
Just discovering.
So these are good discovery probe questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at how this fits in. So this kind of goes into that evolutionary pitch idea, and this is up at the top here, right? So this is how we actually identify the owner category, and okay, into this particular discussion, right? Interesting. Have we used? Have you put those into the? Do you think that these go into the guidelines here? And can your questions go into the guidelines here?
I'm not sure. I want to offer this to Nadine since it's labeling.
Let's go to Nadine.
I kind of label him.
Yes, I think we can put that into the guideline.
Okay. All right. Let's put it in. So how would you frame it, Kyla, for general purpose arrangement? How would you advise somebody new to be able to do this well?
I think we can just use the evolutionary roadmap first, the guideline first, especially the discovery section, the question of discovering. And after that, we kind of implement the labeling method, like just asking, especially when they're talking about the operational thing or the management thing, kind of labeling to get some more confirmations, and then afterwards we can actually identify the owner category, whether it's
Okay, let's do it, Kyla. Let's go ahead. I'll give you the link to the guidelines, and I'll put it in the chat, and let's put it in and see if it works. Right? Okay, great.
Right.
Thank you very much, Kyla. Let's go on to. Let's see what's not working. While Kyla's writing, I'll skip Kyla's next example so I can go to Nadine's example. All right, Nadine, I can't believe you did this. You wrote the entire transcript. How did you do this?
Yes, for the working one, it's the most recent one because I still remember, so I immediately convert it into narrative.
Okay.
But the not working one, it's the worst thing I ever done at the very first time doing the business development team. So it's still it's so memorable.
All right. Let's dissect this. Okay. So how's the construction going, Pat? Good. It's going well. All right. Okay. Glad to hear that. What stage of the construction? What? It's in the finishing, Nadine. Each of my villas will have its pool because the last time we discussed demand for private villa, right? Yes. Thank you for considering that, Pat. Sounds like you're ready to compete in the market now. Yes, I think that's exactly what's needed in the market to survive. All right, exactly. So how do you plan to start? Oh yeah, I basically prepared my team. We have the housekeepers and finance, and we're ready to go. I think something is missing. No? What is that? Marketing. Okay. That's actually pretty hilarious. All right. I find this really funny because you're using so many of the negotiation tactics here. All right. Let's bring this to Gray. Gray, do you detect any of Nadine's tactics in this?
Like I think what really often being mentioned, like the labeling also. Just like sounds like you're ready to compete in the market now. Like
yep.
For example.
That's a label. Okay. And this is a very positive response. They basically agreed, right? They're like, yeah, that's right.
And they spill it.
Yeah, that's right. And what is this? What is this red one, Gray?
I think it's kind of similar to like call to action, but more like digging the info from the owner instead of the guest.
That's right. What do we call that, Nadine?
It's a calibrated question.
Calibrated question, right? So the calibrated question allows the person to speak more and reveal more clues, reveal more facts, right? And that is great. So they revealed all the facts, and then this is where Nadine, this is really interesting. Now, what is this, Nadine?
Yes, because I think because this is recycling leads, right? And
right.
I wasn't able to convert it at the first time, and then I called again, right?
Okay.
And then he kind of like know where I'm going to offer, right? And he kind of like prevent. Oh, I have prepared my team. I have housekeepers, finance team, and basically we're ready to go gitu. And
Right.
I spot that I think something is missing, no, Pak? And then he said that. Yeah, what is that? The marketing, ha ha ha. Yeah, yes, yeah. So basically, they're not ready for the marketing. That's the fact. That's why he didn't mention it.
Very good. Let's go to Alia. Alia, do you recognize that? I think something is missing, no?
I think it's also about labeling, but it's in a playful kind of tone.
Yes, it is. It is a label, in a way, right? But it's actually a Socratic question, right? You're asking the person to state
Yeah.
using their own language that they need something, right? Which is really where you want to go, right? Socratic method works very, very well, either with training or with negotiations, because the person gets to talk about what they. So ideally, you want them to say, "I need a marketing team," right? That's right. But how did you get them to say it? Anything missing? In order to get this many guests, what would you think you need to get, right? Are you going to do this yourself? Right? I need a team. No, I think you're right? So now they have stated what they need rather than having yourself state. So that's also very, very powerful for understanding. Remember, a lot of negotiation is really just about getting a person to understand something faster. And it's really good if instead of saying, I do marketing, I can do this and this for you, you reverse it. You say, you want them to say, I need marketing. I need somebody who can do this and this. How do you get there? Through the questions, right? So this is good. Now, what is that? Okay, so didn't remember. Nadine, this is where you could actually extend it out, right? This is where you could actually build value, right? So right here is an opportunity to build value. You could keep on stringing him along. Okay, so let's say you wanted to get 1,000 guests in the next 300 days, right? What's your plan? Well, I don't have a plan. Okay, you don't have a plan. How many people would you require? I have no idea, right? Like, what channels would you like to advertise on? I don't know, right? Well, how about if I could tell you that you could do, you probably need at least 5 people to do this, right? You probably need to allocate this much budget for you. You probably need to do this. What if you could get it all done for free? I would be very interested in talking to you, right? So great. Okay, this is what we need to talk about. So that is also a way to build the value. Get them to go through the thought process of what it actually would cost, what it would actually take to kind of reach the goal that they're looking for. And that is also a really good way to kind of use the Socratic method. Okay, the marketing. Okay, I'm open with, great, can this be used in HR? Yes, it can be used everywhere, everyone. So the reason we're having this discussion as a chapter is because sales and negotiation, persuasion negotiation can be used everywhere. Like, imagine this is a guest, okay? And the guest is not asking you about marketing, but they're asking about, where can I have a great experience on a holiday? And you go, okay, what do you want to do on your holiday? I want to do this, this, and this. Have you thought about the transportation that it would take to get there? Have you thought about, the cost? Have you budgeted your time? Are there any key sites that you'd like on the itinerary, right? No, I haven't thought about that at all. Well, maybe you need to consider this location, right? Because you've told me that you want to do these 3 things, and if you chose to live in this location, you would not be able to do any of those things without making these giant commutes out every day. So I would recommend that you stay here. What are you looking for? Do you need a pool? Do you need whatever, right? So these things are actually better than, do you need a pool? Like, do you want to spend more time in your villa or in your accommodation, or more time outside? That is actually a very key question to be able to decide, right, what type of accommodation is right for a particular guest. If they want to spend more time in the property, then perhaps a villa, a resort, something that has a high price per day but actually has all the facilities is great. So you say, no, I want to relax. I just want to kind of stay in one place. Great. You want to stay in one place. Does this place need to be beautiful? Right? No, it can be ugly. Okay, fine. Then we'll find something that's kind of private and ugly for you, right? Does this place need to be beautiful? Yes. Okay, great. So we can find something with a view. And of course, this is going to cost a little bit more. Would that be okay? Yes, I expect to pay more for a nice place. So it's kind of like the same thing, Gray, right? For the discovery and the guiding part. You want to use a lot of questions to guide yourself and the guests to where they eventually want to go.
The guests to reveal what they really want.
Yes.
So that's the bottom line that we want actually. Like for
Yes.
example, like, oh, I want to be in Dingin and Uluwatu is okay and have a pool. Sound like you are the location is more important than the facilities.
Yes. Yes.
And then why? Because A, B, C, D, and then you know the guests exactly what they want. And hey, based on your explanation, this is actually more sweet to you instead of like the last minute. So
Yeah.
it's to reveal like what the other side actually they really want.
Excellent example.
Something that your budget is more important than the location and other things.
Right. Very good. Very good. So
It's
label the situation so that you know which direction to go to, right? So it sounds like,
reveal there.
right. It sounds like, let's say the accommodation size is the most important factor, right? You want to label to double check whether or not you're understanding this person correctly. And if they say yes, then you can pursue down that pathway. If they say no, then, basically, it's a little bit like this, everyone. It's like going to the teacher and asking them, what are you going to test me on the test? And then when you know all the answers, you can say, okay, here's the answer. And you're just basically repeating back what they told you already, right? But framing it now your product, your service in a way that answers all their key questions, right? So this is generally not seen as being invasive. It's seen as being helpful. It's seen as being hospitable. And it's seen as being service, right? Like you are really trying to serve and understand my intentions. Great. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I agree. That's why I asked the question earlier in the chat. Like, do we have like a dictionary of all the terms and explanation for the technique?
Not
that's
yet.
usually- that's usually being used because I'm here and I can understand. But if I want to explain it to HAR, then I don't really have something to like show, and my understanding of like the technique could be different for
That
the member.
is a great discussion topic, Gray. Okay. Kyla, could we write this as actually a discussion topic on top of the current discussion? Okay. So what we need to do is we need to think about, we have guidelines now, Gray, for how to pitch to owners, right? So there's this kind of like this string, you pick which category the owner's on, and you have these ways, right? I think we could probably develop similar guidelines for guests, right?
I think so.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's still very similar, right? It's still like a few categories. You have to identify the guest category. You have to build trust and open conversation. You have to go into discovery, and then you pattern match by looking for what property matches the guest best, even if they inquired on a different property, right? You know the properties better than they do, so you can probably find something that really fits their plans, right? And then the final thing is to close the deal. So guess what, everyone? I think we can use the same structure that we have, the 5 steps to closing deals for guests as well as owners. So we can start architecting that. Okay, good. Great. You're a great client, because this is what this chapter needs. We need people to find what the problems are so that we can then bring it into, we can develop solutions for it. So, okay, good. Before we get too excited, okay, so Kyla will start that discussion topic on top, and then we will come back to that in a second, okay? But let's, we could spend the whole hour just on this one section here. All right, let's see. That's how they work. If the guests interacted. Okay, let's continue here. I'm open with an opportunity. It's good to have many agents working for my property. Right? Wrong. Okay, and Nadine says, I doubt it, because none of them will work exclusively for you. What do you think, Pop? Interesting. Oh, yeah? Yeah. So now Nadine goes into a third-party story, all right? Which is pretty interesting. She tells a story about what might happen. Okay. There's an opportunity to make this even stronger. Nadine, do you know how?
To actually let them answer all the questions, right? Probably. Not.
But even then, right? Here's the issue here. You're telling this in a theoretical way, right? The more powerful way to approach this is, okay, I don't think we covered this technique yet, but it's called a third party story, okay? A third party story is talking about a case where somebody chose X, right? So here's how I would frame it. So none of them will work exclusively for me. What do you think, Pat? He says, oh yeah? Yeah, okay, so let me tell you about a case, right? A few months ago, we had a partner who thought having more agents was a good idea. And they put themselves on many, many different agents, but what happened was this, right? The agents all collided whenever they needed to bring guests. Nobody got along. There was no central coordination of any of the bookings. And after a while, what happened was this person wasn't dealing really with 30 agents. They were dealing with none. And how did that happen? Well, because none of the agents would bring guests over to a property that they really couldn't secure the availability. And come on, let's be real too. If you're an agent and you keep on bringing guests and you get rejected, will you keep on bringing guests to this particular property? You're not foolish either, right? So then what we've seen then on the other case is this, right? We've seen cases where the owner chose to work with us exclusively and they build each year. Why? Because all the reviews and all the momentum gains on one particular profile, and it gains and this is where you can actually start asking for data to support what you're saying too as well, right? Because that adds another layer of conviction on your story. So this is a third party story, but a third party story with data, with a testimonial, that's almost a solid home run, right? Like if you can get an owner to testify like, hey, look, I used to use 30 agents and it was a mess. Nobody knew who was bringing in what, and in the end, I got like fewer bookings than I could just done myself. Right? It was incomprehensible. So that I think is the way that you could enhance the way that a story is told. But this is good. You're asking multiple questions here, which is a good idea, but it's a little bit overwhelming too. Right? You might need to. Oh wait, did they say no? Oh, do they care about your occupancy? No. Do they care about how long you're... Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. You're asking rhetorical questions here. Okay, what do you think? Okay, good. He's convinced, right? He says you're right. So, okay, never mind what I just said, because if he said that's fine, then it works. And so it's good. So, but okay, we can always try to explore other things. Save it for the next time, Nadine, okay? So use this. But if you need to you have a person who is just not breaking the nut, then you can tell a third party story, right? And then you can come with data, and then you can come with a testimonial. So that will give you 3 additional outs, right? Where you can go if this person isn't persuaded yet. Okay, good. Okay. Good. This is good. That's pretty funny. So why did you call that out, Nadine?
Because when I because I told and then he was silent, he didn't respond anything, and I was like, okay, kayaknya bapak masih ragu seperti kemarin, something like that. And then he turns out laughing and then yes, Mbak Nadine. Yeah.
All right, what is that, Nadine?
And he said that.
Oh no, what do we call that? What is this technique called?
Oh, it's for the one I'm sensing the hesitations. It's a label. Yeah.
It's also another thing too as well. Let's go to Kyla. Kyla, in addition to being a label, what else is it?
I'm thinking label too, sorry.
Okay, it is a label. It's definitely a label, but it's also kind of serving another purpose as well.
The Socratic ones, no?
No, Socratic would be a question. Yes, Nadine?
It's the pause, the break, right?
It could be a break, but it's specifically, I think, something else too. Let's go to Alia. Alia, do you recognize it?
I don't think I recognize anything other than the label.
Okay, let's ask. Could it be an accusation audit?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, the
Right?
hesitation part.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of letting the silence fill the air, you could say you're probably silent because you don't really believe what I'm saying, right? Right? So you're controlling the silence by giving the silence a name, by giving the fear a name, right? And that's what essentially is an accusation audit. You could even be like, well, I guess I haven't done enough to really persuade you at the moment, right? I guess it looks like we're going to have another month of silence, right? So these are all ways to defeat the silence. Great. You probably see this sometimes, right? In a lot of conversations where it just sort of, boop, it ends, right? You're negotiating with the guest, everything's great, and then it just kind of goes, boop.
Didn't come back.
Right, guest doesn't come back. So this is a great way to get it started again, right? Like, you can also use the no thing, right? I guess we're going to give up on this now, right? Or do you want to give up on this particular thing after a certain amount of silence has passed? Nadine, I think that was another way of creating like a no-oriented question to get the ball rolling again. Great. Do you think that would be useful to unlock the silence in, let's say, guest interactions?
I think it could be, but it also depends on the guest itself.
True.
But some guests probably
Right.
reply back.
But think about it, right? How many guests actually, okay, so a guest doesn't reply back. It's usually a few reasons, okay? One, they didn't read it. So they just, haven't checked, right? Two, they read it, but they don't know what to say. And we need to invite them back into conversation again. So we can just probably point that out, right? Sounds like you're not sure how to answer my last question. So should we get started on a different side, right? And if they read it, then at least they have something to say again, right? By calling out silence to be silence, you've removed the awkwardness. But by leaving silence to be silence, then you create uncertainty, right? So I think this is actually a really strategic way to unlock locked conversations, which is really good, right? Good job, Nadine. I think that's actually very tactical there. Okay, and it works because he keeps on talking now, right? Because he's hesitating about this idea. So we understand that he's not entirely comfortable about exclusive management. So what Nadine has actually unlocked is to get him to say this line, right? Nadine's yellow line got him to say the blue line, which is the key blocking point. How will you bring in bookings? Okay, so let's see what Nadine says. Oh, very good, right? Very good. Nadine, that's brilliant. What have you done here?
Yeah, so he's concerned about how if you will not be able to bring bookings in a year. So I highlighted the year, right? The length of the contract, because he actually what is that? He actually also sure that we will bring bookings, but how if in a year there is not fully occupied, there is always a month which is empty. So I think that's the main problem. So I just lay it out like what I'm saying. The problem is not exclusivity, but the length of the contract. This is also I'm still guessing, but yeah, I asked for his confirmation as well.
And it worked.
Yeah.
You've changed the framing of the problem, right? So the framing now, it's kind of funny because it could be he could have meant the exclusivity, but you removed one of the variables from the table, right? So he could be concerned about exclusivity or the length of the contract, but you said it's this one, right? Not this one. And he happened to agree. Maybe he was like, okay, all right. So that is really smart because you cannot change the exclusivity part, but you can negotiate on the length part, right? So this is really smart because what the real problem could have been is both. It could have been both together, right? But by eliminating one of the problems by saying, hey, this doesn't seem to be the problem. It's this, right? And the owner goes, yeah. then now we're not going to talk about exclusive. You've agreed to exclusive now, right?
Yeah, because we cannot negotiate the exclusivity, right?
Right. So that's really smart, right? What I like about that is you've taken the problem about bookings and you've broken it down into two parts. You've broken down, it's that bookings can only be achieved by exclusive and by length of time. Let's get rid of the exclusive part because that doesn't seem to be the problem. So it's a question about length of time, right? And he goes, yeah, I guess so. Great. Okay. You've agreed to, so you got him to actually agree to exclusive by removing this option. Now, that is quite masterful. I don't even know if you knew that, but that's like a tacit agreement to exclusivity without really positioning it as exclusivity. Because now you're choosing to negotiate on the length of time on the contract, right? So that is now where the focus of the negotiation is. And that's something we can negotiate, which is really smart. So I hope everyone sees this, right? This is really fun because it's essentially like okay, you're saying that exclusive is fine, but it's mostly like the length of the contract, right? Yeah. Okay. Good.
So it's work that's for Beggy.
Ah, right. They don't, okay, so they don't mind exclusive. They just don't want exclusive forever, right? And be locked into a situation where you're not seeing results, right?
Because they are new, they don't know. Like for Beggy is
They need to see, right?
Right. Okay, that is actually pretty. There's many different outs you can put on that one, right? That's where the revenue projection becomes really important also too as well. The revenue projection can be one of your outs. You say, well, okay, if I can give you a projection, right, that you agreed to at the beginning of the year, that is the best of our knowledge at the beginning of the year, right? And we keep to that projection. Would you have any other concerns, right? Probably not, right? Okay, well, and if we could do better than the projection, for 6 of the 12 months, would that alleviate your concerns? And okay, all right, so that's another reason why we have the BI tools there to help as well. Okay, great. There's a lot of good stuff here, Nadine. Was this a voice conversation or was this a chat conversation?
It is a voice conversation and it's actually in Bahasa. I converted it to English.
Wow, amazing. Okay. Hey, thank you, actually. This, I think, is an innovation, Nadine. Nobody's done this before. Nobody's transcripted a voice conversation. But by transcripting it, we're able to see what's actually happening. So I think this is actually really powerful. This is cool. Okay, great. Come visit us in the villa. Great. So we have that alignment now. All right. So let's go to the other one. Okay, let's go with what does not work. I wish we had more time. This is so fun. We have so many other things we want to cover today. Oh my God, how will we cover all of it? Okay, let's go to this one real quick.
Cover like the HAR part so that the
Okay, let's go into HAR. Okay, let's jump. Yeah. Let's go to HAR and let's see, where do I begin? We got some by Sasha and we got some by Gray. Okay, great. Let's take a look at what Sasha said, yeah? So Sasha put together an example of Villa Tortoise. So got an inquiry for Villa Tortoise from the New Year period. 12 people confirmed Pak Made he did give the permission. The rate would be 1.5 million, but the guests offer for 1.8. Okay, since this high season, held on to the initial price and added to the villa's value. Guests only wanted Tortoise and they rejected all the other options, and eventually the guests agreed and booked. Okay, so what's the takeaway here? All right, let's go to Wayana. What do we know about this, and what are some guidelines to be able to repeat this kind of transaction?
I just need to read the thing.
Let's go over to Alia while Wayne is reading. Do we have any guidelines to encapsulate this particular process?
I don't think we do about the because I haven't really read more about the HAR, but I've noticed that Sasha added the villa's value, so she hooked the owner with the this is high season and the villa is in beachfront, so the price is actually fair for the accommodation that you get. I think that is the point that she wants to make, I think.
Okay, very good. So that is solid. Okay, let's go back to Wayana. Do you see anything here that can be repeated?
I think the one that we can repeat here, like clear information given to the guests.
Mm-hmm.
and there is full information based on what the guests need, and then also the quest answer all the question to the guest like precisely,
Mm-hmm.
and also tell expectation. This is the price, because if we know the guest really want that place, you can actually this is the
You can
best
stick
price.
to it. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, if you want it, I suggest you book soon. Like, and also there's normally that's the point to understand the guest.
Okay. All right.
Actually,
So this is related to discovery, right? And pattern matching. So if we know that the guest wants this particular location, we know that in the inventory there isn't a lot of similar product to this location, then we can be very confident that this is the right thing to sell. But have we used any persuasion negotiation tactics here?
yeah, so they highlighted the beachfront villa,
Mm-hmm.
dan said also harga tahun baru juga.
Okay.
Basically highlighted like basically this is already indirectly said this is already very good price in this kind of situation in this beachfront villa.
Okay. But is that a strong tie down? Is that like very ooh, that's very compelling for is that personalized to this particular person?
Based on what description up on the top, because the guest only want this one, I think it's what you call reject the other offer. That means we know this is the option they wanted. It just need to highlight it so that they feel that they get the value of it.
Okay, got it. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So this is actually a little bit outside of persuasion negotiation. This is more like understanding the marketplace in a way, all right? So you understand essentially what's available in the marketplace. You understand that this guest is rejecting other similar properties, right? So then you understand, okay, they probably have a strong desire for this particular unit. But do we feel like we're in control here? Nadine, what do you think about this? Is there control? Is there a strong control at this point? If the guest just decided to leave, would we be able to bring them back based on anything?
I see. So basically, for the technique that Sasha did is not really strong persuasion technique actually.
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense, Sasha is sensing that this guest is attracted to our to our property, and it's easy to convert basically. That's why Sasha is stand to this price, right?
Correct.
She doesn't want to go lower.
Correct.
Basically, the stance Sasha get the stance, but probably not not converted into a strong persuasive words that could be happen as well. Like label, you can label. Sounds like you really attracted to our property here and something. So that
And that would then get
why
them to
so-
talk about why, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you can just say that you guys know why that's. I mean, like it's kind of like you mentioned all the highlighted things from this property. That's why we this is the price on the high season, and people are so many demand for this property, and it's limited. So this is our best price at the moment.
There you
And
go.
I think that could be.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. That is
I
what.
think I want to
Oh, go ahead, Wayana.
I want to add on that one actually. If for example, if Nadine said like, oh, if you want really like this price, and then you can also find out why you want this. Sound like that you want this place so bad. Like why? Because oh, my friend is here. Because everyone is here, and then you can like, oh, actually.
So it is a fair price.
Okay? And then you can just convince it.
You've convinced yourself now, or you want it.
Then like like 100,000 will be like nothing with that. It's just like you basically you can say the experience here to the beach with friends is amazing. I
There you
think
go.
that's what it-
There you go. So this is the discovery part, right? I can kind of tell this particular closing line is a closing line where there hasn't been very specific discovery, right? Because this is a very broad closing line, right? Like, hey, look, and actually there is no. I think okay, there is a closing line. Apakah okay, pakat, right? So that's kind of like the closing line. But here is where you could strengthen this particular approach. Nadine already put it out there. When the person rejects another property, you can go, sounds like you really like the first one. Yes, I do. Why? And get them to talk, right, about that. By the end of that particular session, you don't need to convince them too much. They've already convinced themselves why they want it, right? They've already expressed their own desire for this particular unit. And you can also use another sort of FOMO technique if you want to also get kind of like more crucial, right? You can say, hey, look, we all know that international travel is opening up soon. So right now you're getting a domestic price for this property. Now, if you came back in a week later and let's say the airport in Bali opened up and everyone's coming in now and you had to pay triple for it, would you feel kind of sad that you let this go for 200,000, right? So you can also use a sense of loss as a way of also persuading somebody. Like, this opportunity is an opportunity. It's not around forever as well. So do you really want to, save this and potentially lose whatever to a higher offer? So, okay, good. But I think we've actually understood a little bit of the scope here, right? It's not, it is good in the sense that Sasha knows the inventory. She knows the intuition of how this deal flow was working. But could we have used stronger tactics to engage and really close the person in? Yes. That is understanding what this person values, right? And in this particular case, we don't really know it because we're just referring to generics, right? Referring to, yes, it's in the beachfront, it's in a good location, right? So, okay. Better would be why. Why is that actually important for this particular person? Okay, let's keep on rolling then. Let's take a look at what Gray has put in. Random question. Yes, Gray. This meeting is being recorded, so you can go back and witness it later too if you want. Okay, great. Gray, actually, let me ask you, Gray, is this different from the kind of meetings that you have with the inquiry conversion team?
Yes, because of course, like I said before, the technique and the terms is already different because it comes from business development, right? That's why I need the dictionary so I can translate it to HAR.
Okay. Well, the first thing we need to do is, have you watched the Chris Voss course yet?
No, I think it's just BD. I think.
Okay.
That's why when you ask in the beginning, I don't really know what you guys were talking about.
Oh!
I think Christmas is what is it? On the reservations. I think I introduced it already.
Where?
Yes, and it's familiar in inquiry workshop. We do mirroring, labeling. I think. Yes, in the inquiry workshop.
Okay. So
It be but I think it could be a verbal and the terms is not there, if you get what I mean. So like people just know like, oh, this need to do this, but they don't know that it has a term.
Okay. Vocabulary. Okay. Let's see. Gray, this is in 2 hours of your life that will change 20 years of what you can expect in the future, right? So in this course, you'll learn things like accusation audit, label, mirror, calibrated questions, all these specific terms that we've been throwing around. And I think everyone here has watched it, so that's why we know. But let's kind of put these things in. I'll give you this too as well. Great. This is a link I'm going to share in the chat. And the structure that we've built already for the partners is using a lot of the terminology, right? This is an accusation audit. This is a label. This is, so that we can all get on the same page here. Okay. I'm happy to hear that, Nadine, because I'm happy to hear that, Gray, because it means that there's a lot more we can do to actually improve the way reservations are being done. Okay, let's take a look. What do we have here then? Great, tell us more about this, and I think this will be our final example for today.
Yep. So this one, the guest inquirer for Blue Apsara actually. So he asked, he's interested for a month, by the way, and he said, hi, we're interested on your place. We do have a question though on why second floor and inaccessible for the guests. Let me know, please. That's actually a very common question for people that is interested in Blue Apsara. And I explained, thank you so much for reaching out to us. So our second floor is inaccessible because we have some antique stuff and personal belongings there. So to prevent it from getting broken and touched, that's why we strictly prohibit on going to the second floor. But then I said, but you get full access on the really like first floor, because all the bedroom and all the pool is there.
Yep.
So what do you think? And then I gave a pre-approval, and then he said, excellent. A couple more asked, will drive, can I park the car inside the property? The last come from the wife, as she'll probably cook. We noticed from one of the reviews that some kitchen equipment are missing. What are they? Perhaps we can prepare beforehand. Thanks. So I said, yep, of course you can park the car on our garage. We have a fully equipped kitchen, Andy. And I asked, or is there something that must be there for the kitchen tools for your wife? But turns out before he answered that, he
already accepted it.
And he booked.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. So let's kind of dissect this and see what techniques that Gray used that are very helpful. Okay. So let's go to Nadine. Nadine, analyze this for us. Tell us what are some effective techniques that Gray is putting in here.
Okay, so this is what very essential as a reservation team in HAR, as I know, because we're responding to inquiry, right? One of the principle of answering inquiry is make sure that we answer all the questions. So and we need to really know what is the guest concern, right? So this Andy is actually just curious probably, right? Like why is that the second floor inaccessible? And then Gray explained it very comprehensively, and it answered his questions, right? And then she convinced as well, like it's actually there is no problem with that second floor because all the facilities that you will have is on the first floor already, right? So that's also the good thing. I think this I think I got this from Daniel Ping as well, right? To actually show the weaknesses as well at the very beginning, right?
Very
That's
good.
also more perspective.
Very good.
To
Very
be
good.
transparent at the very first time.
Very good.
Yeah, I think this is good. By basically on for the main principle answering, make sure that all the questions is answered, and Gray did that very well.
Okay, let's dissect this down then. Great. In addition to what Nadine just said about answering questions and revealing and being transparent, here's a few things I noticed that you did well. One, your response time was within 15 minutes. So fast, right? Get that response over. That builds engagement, it builds trust. Second, Gray mirrored the client, right? The second floor is inaccessible. The second floor is inaccessible because, right? So that is just I don't know if Gray, you noticed you were doing that, but that is actually pretty good, right? You're repeating back to them what they're saying, and that helps them know that you're speaking the same language. That is okay, I've traveled all over the world and I've been able to make friends all over the world, right? One of the things I do when I'm learning language is I just copy what the other person is saying. And they always love it. Everybody all throughout the world loves it when you repeat their words back to them for some reason, right? They think it's really charming. So you used a mirror in there. So that is a pretty good technique. The next thing is you shed light on the positive, which I think I really like, right? So instead of looking at the second floor being inaccessible, you talk about the first floor. And you ended with a leading question, a calibrated question. What do you think? Right? And that is good because a question demands a response, right? So that's how you get the person to write back and send you your next question. So this is, I think, really well done. Okay, so they have more questions to ask. The car, the whatever, the thing. So this one is well answered. And I like how you answer it again with a crucial question, right? You're focusing on, okay, are the kitchen tools essential for your wife? Do we need to get this ready? And from their reaction, you know it's probably not essential, right? Because they made the booking even without confirming about the kitchen tools, okay? So you kind of have been able to read some of the expectations of the guest during this particular encounter. Now, how can this be made better? One, if we do get this a lot, then it should be on the content, right? Can we put like maybe a slide on the frame saying, or we probably did already. That's why they asked us, right, Greg? Yep. Okay. So they ask anyways, just to ask. Okay. That's fine. That could be a way of just breaking the ice. In fact. Okay. So that's already been optimized on that side. I think the other thing that I generally love to do is I love to ask people about what are your travel plans. Okay. Because when you ask what are your travel plans here, then that could reveal a lot of information. A lot of information that can assist you to get the booking through. If they told you their travel plans are to see the Uluwatu Temple, eat at this restaurant, do this, then you can say, you know what? You can do that all within a day because all those places are within a 10-minute drive, and I can arrange a drive for you for this price. And this person can actually pick you up even at the airport. So you're ready to go right from the moment you arrive. How does that sound? And now they're experiencing more value than they expected to get. They expected to just get, an accommodation, but now they're getting an experience, right? And that is always something that you can close more deals if you ask what are your travel plans. So that could be a good way to engage. Okay, let's do this now, right? So we've got 3 more minutes. We've got 2 more minutes. We don't have time to cover all this stuff, all these examples. I wish we did because there's so much good stuff here. We didn't go after Alia's things. What do we do? We ran out of time. All right, so let's do this then. I think what we can do is we can come back and revisit the material that we didn't cover today, right, on next week's, right? So let's see. We have a pretty good cross-section of guest, partner, and nothing on employee side yet, but maybe we can bring some employee side discussions also here. The bigger discussion is this, framework. So can we create framework now for the guest side, right? Can we create essentially pitches and ways of dealing with different guests, category of guest, and what is the correct way to approach that? Great. Let's do this, Greg. Arrange a sub-discussion with me, you, and Nadine, okay? And what we'll do is we'll start building the foundations for a evolutionary roadmap for pitch for guests, okay? So we'll try to think about, all right, what's the first way that we can open a discussion with the guest? What's a way that we can discover what the guest actually wants? What's a way that we can pattern match? What's a way we can close, okay? So that we have these particular guidelines, and you can bring these back to your chapter and share them with everybody, and then you make sure everybody follows those guidelines, right? So that I think can be a project. So sometime before Friday, great, let's work on that, and that will be there. Kyla, where do we put all this good material now? Do we have like I don't even know where to classify all this material. I guess in spoken technique.
I think, sir,
Yeah.
the one that we already discussed should be moved somewhere.
I know, right? Yeah.
To be the guideline, right?
Okay. Well, I think what we
I
can
think
do.
the guideline framework should be in a different document
Yes.
for this table.
Yes, the guideline framework for the guests should be a separate document from where this is. But Nadine, can you do that with Kyla later, right? So we don't have time. We're already past time. But can you both move the fruits of our discussion into the guidelines and then mark the examples with a sign so we know that these are done,
Yeah.
right? And then we know next time we come back, Kyla, I'll need to rely on your memory so that we don't review the same things again, right? We review only the fresh material. So whatever we've covered today, please upload it into the guideline table over here, right? And then mark the ones that have been already categorized, okay? And then that way when we come back next time, we just look at the material that's fresh, okay?
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, I think because Gray is very new here, maybe Gray, how do you feel regarding the question that we covered for this discussion?